It is it's 34 minutes after the hour. We have results now in Ohio. Drudge reporting Mitt and Rick are close, within 5% of each other in Ohio. That's terrible. And there's a reason for that. The reason is Obama is saying talk softly and carry a big stick, while Romney is saying talk softly and carry no stick. You disagree with me? That's another quotable. First one was Romney can't win if he maintains the missionary position that he's been following towards the opposition, and he needs to choose a much more aggressive position. It's a funny line. I mean, that's one that should go around the world. That's something even the British would appreciate, I think. But this talk softly and carry no stick is not working for Romney. He's being misadvised, being shafted, undermined by the Brutuses within his campaign. Same ones who ran Romney's McCain off the roadway. That's all there is to it. We need aggression, aggression, aggression. We need aggression, aggression, aggression. Agree or disagree? Jim in New York on WOR, what do you think? Should Romney get more aggressive, yes or no?
Absolutely, yes. I think he's a fool if he doesn't realize what he's up against. They will eat him alive with Bain Capital and other issues. All he needs to do is go on an aggressive front, and he'll win. He can win this.
Yes, if he stands there when Obama says, well, when you were at Bain Capital, all you did was bust out companies. The way to deal with that is, what about Solyndra? Why don't you tell America where the $500 million went? Why don't you tell them about the $1 billion missing in MF Global, why you haven't pursued that? Why don't you tell us about the lost SEALs aboard the Navy helicopter? Romney could win if he took that position.
And he has to. And if he doesn't, it's the future of our country. And that's what people need to wake up and realize.
My fear, as I have expressed for well over 2 years now, is that the fix is in. And I don't know how to prove it, other than the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. If I see Romney continue to take the missionary position, turning the other cheek, and saying he's a nice guy with a difference of opinion, then is McCain all over again and he loses, it's exactly what happened before. Am I right?
You're absolutely right, Michael. And just two more points real quick. The political correctness of this country is ruining our country. We need strong men in office who are willing to stand up and say the things that are tough to say, but the right things to say. And I'll say one more thing, Michael. I understand you're busy. Give that dog a pat on the head for all your listeners. Great picture on michaelsavage.com. He's adorable.
Oh, the dog?
He's adorable.
What, you mean the picture of me, Donald Trump, or the dog?
The dog. The other two...
the other two we can do without. No, the picture of Teddy with me and Donald on the top is a great picture. I'm sending you a copy of Trickle Down Tyranny. You're one of the first 5 to get a free copy today. I want to get the message out. I feel like Paul Revere, because if I can't talk about the nation's pride, to hook people into the book and Trickle Down Tyranny, nothing's going to work. Nothing's going to work. Look what I wrote on page 3 in my introduction of Advice to the Next President. We need to nominate and support the most electable Republican in the field because an Obama victory in 2012 would doom this country. Okay, how's that for a full sentence? I mean that literally. We will very likely not survive as a free nation after 4 more years under Obama's rule. It's never been more important that we vote a sitting president out of office. I'm going to explain why as I tell you what the next president of the United States must do to reverse the damage Obama has done. If the man chosen by Republicans to run against Obama will follow the battle plan I outline here, explain to the American people that this is what he's going to do when he's elected, we will be able to save our nation from the most insidious and subversive administration in our history. I stand by those words. I wrote them several weeks or months ago, rather, and I stand by them. Returning American foreign policy to a position of strength. I've told the 10 million listeners to the Savage Nation radio broadcast that the Obama foreign policy has been one of appeasing Islamist dictators and bowing to the Chinese and Russians. Let me start with Russia. You want me to go into that one? You read it. You read it. Get your copy and read it. This is the book that could turn the tide of the next election. 1-800-449-8255. John in Las Vegas on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Doctor, I believe Romney might just be trying to play this one real cool until he gets the nomination, and then when he gets the nomination, he turns into a more aggressive candidate.
Well, hold on. Here's the question. Wouldn't the exact opposite make sense since he's only appealing to Republicans now? He's not running against a Democrat. What do you mean? If he's so liberal now, what do you think he's going to be when he's running against a liberal?
Well, he might be pursuing the independents. not wanting to be a radical or perceived.
You mean the independents amongst the Republican primary voters?
Pretty much the Tea Partiers. Well,
the Tea Partiers are certainly not liberals.
Well, that's true. I think he's just being pragmatic, though, trying to keep a real low profile.
Well, here's the latest coming off the CNN exit poll in Ohio. Romney 40, Santorum 36, Grinch 12, and neuron deficient Paul 11. The Grinch has 12. We're going to call Gingrich Grinch now. Ron Paul will refer to as the neuron deficient 11%. Romney 40, Santorum 36. If the Grinch and Neuron weren't in it, Romney would be way ahead. If the Grinch and Neuron were to drop out, Romney would be way ahead. Because the Grinch and Neuron supporters would go to Romney, I think. And Santorum could run the prophylaxis department for Romney when he wins. Romney could set up a department of prophylaxis, and then Santorum would be in his element. He could talk about hygienic affairs from now until kingdom come. Okay, let's go to the callers. Hartford, Connecticut. Susan, you're up on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Dr. Savage, you are 100% right. When Gingrich gets aggressive, he wins. This guy is everything we don't want that we have now. If he's going to, you can't play clean with dirty people. That's number one.
Bingo.
And number two, he comes across like he's not enthusiastic enough about healing this country.
Yes, if he continues to portray himself as just another candidate with a little different approach, a little different face, sort of another technocrat, another guy who's going to fix this, fix that, that's not enough to excite the women voters, for example. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I mean it in the political sense, and you know what I'm saying.
I know, and I'll tell you this. I live in a neighboring state to where he was a governor. I was a little bit hesitant on him because he's kind of a flip-flopper at times. However, the one we have now is so bad, anybody would be better. But here's the
I agree. By the way, even Neuron, I would even vote for Neuron or Grinch over Obama.
Exactly. Thank you.
You're getting a free copy of what? If you say it, you get it.
Oh, trickle up. I mean, oh, you just threw me, and I really would like it.
Okay, you're going to be the first to get it without saying trickle-down tyranny, but from now on, listeners, if I say, if you name it, you gain it. But you got to say trickle-down tyranny till I get it into your heads, as I did with my last book. This is the name of the game here. I have no other media outlet for my message. I'm banned in England, I'm banned on Fox News. I'm banned on CNN, I'm banned on ABC, CBS, and NBC because we live in a free country with a free media and they have the right to ban me. But doesn't that say something about them? What are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? They're liable to hear the truth? Is that why they don't want me on their shows? Call it communism, Marxism, Leninism, socialism, collectivism, call it whatever you like. If we don't wake up to the reality of the situation, we face another 4 years of this administration, of the takeover of our country by agents of the very enemy that we've been fighting against for more than half a century. I believe every word I just wrote that I just said to you there. In 2009, Obama gave in to Russia when he abandoned the idea of installing U.S. missile defense sites in Poland and the Czech Republic that were meant to protect our European and Eastern European allies against Iranian nuclear missile strikes. It was part of his Russian reset. Russia rewarded Obama by threatening to aim its missiles at U.S. European-based missile defense systems and to withdraw from the new START nuclear weapons treaty it has with the United States. You remember START, right? Obama promised to give up much of our nuclear weapons advantage over the Russians in the naive interest of eliminating nuclear weapons from the world. The Obama strategy has been one of capitulation to despots around the world. His failure to stand up to the Russians puts the U.S. in greater and greater danger, not just of losing our own weapons advantage, but of putting our European allies at risk. The next president of the United States must stand up to Russia, go ahead with the installation of missile defense sites in Poland and the Czech Republic, while assuring former Soviet bloc countries that we will stand with them against possible Russian aggression. Not bad for a talk show host who doesn't really know what's going on. You want me to continue from trickle-down tyranny and advice to the next president? I will. China is not far behind Russia in challenging the United States. Did you know that Chinese President Hu Jintao has directed the Chinese Navy to prepare for military combat? whose militant stance is based on China's claim that it owns the South China Sea and that other nations need to give up any claims to the oil and gas reserves there and to the right to use its shipping lanes without Chinese consent. Do you know what our administration's response was? The Pentagon calls for transparency on China's part as the communist nation builds up its Navy. Spokesmouth George Little talked about the relationship that the U.S. is continuing to build with the Chinese military. Are you as appalled as I am at the lack of backbone displayed over and over again by our state and defense departments in the face of China's ongoing military buildup? So, the next president must proclaim publicly to the Chinese that the South China Sea represents international waters and that we will not tolerate any attempts on China's part to assert itself militarily there. The next president, well, I can go on. We must also stand with India and its neighbors. And I can go on, and I do go on. And I said to you that Trickle-Down Tyranny is the single most important book that you can hold in your hand to convince a neighbor, a friend, or a family member, what is at stake in this next election. Because unfortunately, most people don't know what's at stake. Now, I'm not going to do this from now until the election. I'm not going to talk about my book, but today is a very exciting day because everyone listening to this show is listening to Vermont, Virginia, Ohio, Alaska, Georgia, Massachusetts, Oklahoma, Idaho, Tennessee, North Dakota, and the results on Super Tuesday. This is the kickoff of the football game, the grand game. Only for those of us who know what is at stake, with the gross corruption, the gross incompetence, and the gross arrogance that has emanated from the White House, everything is at stake. Ohio showdown, Romney 40.3%, Santorum 37.2%. Saintly Santorum. 1-800-449-8255, michaelsavage.com. Let's take the callers from around the nation and around the world right here on the Savage Nation. Corey, Las Vegas, go ahead, you're on the air.
Dr. Savage, it's an honor to speak with you today. Just want to first thank you for a few segments back for standing up. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I appreciate for standing up against that caller who was slandering our faith with New York
Absolutely, and I will do so until the last day I'm on the radio. I have worked with Mormons. They're the most honorable people I've ever worked with in business. I wish I could say that about other people.
Absolutely. You know, I'm a member of the LDS faith, but I would still vote for Romney for three specific reasons. One, he's an accomplished businessman who's helped create thousands of jobs. And then the other two are he's a good family man. And the third one is he's tough on foreign policy. Those three bullet points, he is by far the best. And with that...
You're right. Even on those points alone, he is a better man. No question about it. And I would sleep better at night knowing he knows the threat from the Islamists, incidentally. See, that's something that should not be ignored. Romney has spoken out about the Sharia, the creeping Sharia into the West. You know that, right?
Yes.
And as a Christian, he knows that we're facing a cultural war right now, a clash of civilizations. He understands that Christianity itself is threatened right now by the rising militancy of radical Islam. There's no other way to put it. Romney, of all, should be the one to save Western civilization, of all of them, because he is a man of faith. I would say he's more of a man of faith than the others. Wouldn't you say so?
You know, I mean, I don't want to...
I would say for one reason, he was a missionary. I mean, not to play on my pun, he was an actual missionary. To me, that's a beautiful thing. I've met missionaries in my life, Corey. The years I was collecting medicinal plants in the South Pacific, I would very often have many nights of long talks about religion and culture with missionaries from many of the Christian faiths who were there proselytizing the indigenous population, the people in the islands and where I was working. And they were wonderful people. They were putting aside all of the worldly gain to preach the gospel. What else can I say to you? And I found people who are idealists. Missionaries are beautiful people. Well, now we have a missionary running for the presidency. The only position that he seems to know, though, is the missionary position in terms of, turn the other cheek. And that's why I said in order for him to win, he must have a more aggressive position than the missionary position. A pun is intended. I'll be right back.
Savage.